Good morning, students. My name is Ms. Shifula Dama, and I'm here to present the module Introduction to Educational Research for all the courses that are taking this module. I just want to start with the forewords. I've already welcomed you to this module, and we wish you all the best in your studies. I have put together some useful ideas to help you in your studies. Actually, what I mean here, these ideas that I'm presenting will help you when you are busy with your assignment, 2018 assignment. You need to be motivated and on track with your study course and achieve the qualification that you want. Definitely, we are all here to pass, and through performing or doing our assignments to the best of our ability, using all the resources provided to us by IOL, will definitely graduate and qualify for whatever qualification we need. What are the expectations that we are having as IOL, as tutors, as markers from our students? This assignment for Introduction to Educational Research, I must say I have to kindly request that you type your assignment using Arial, font Arial, 1.5 line spacing, font size 12, and all your pages should be justified. Now, what I have seen in the past, students will write their assignments, one sentence, stop in the middle, another one stop at the end, and so on. I just kindly ask you to justify your pages. Another thing is you need to write on one side of the page only. This will enable me to mark your assignment with ease. The third point of our expectations is that you need to number your questions based on how it's numbered in the assignment provided to you. So you need to number your questions, you need to number all the subsections clearly. You also need to number your pages, so that when the staple or the assignment fall apart, I won't struggle to see which one is page 1, page 2, page 3. They are already numbered. You need to also use the APA version 6 style of referencing. If you don't know how to use it, you can just Google up APA style of referencing. Then you can acquaint yourself. You can learn how to use these references. These are some of the things that we have to teach ourselves. There's no module on APA or on numbering pages unless you need to take up computer classes. Plagiarism is a serious academic offense, and plagiarism, here we mean when you go to Google or to some sites or to the articles and you copy other people's ideas exactly as they are written, without referencing, without indicating who the owner of those that knowledge is. Then you are plagiarizing, and we call it is a very serious academic offense. Okay, to proceed, we also, before you start with your assignment, you need to know the meaning of the verbs that we are using, whether in the assignments. These verbs are also used in the examinations. So it's better, while you are doing your assignment, it's better to know the meaning. What is expected of you when they are asking you to define a word? When we are asking for the definition, you need to give a precise, brief meaning of concepts, of words, of those words that we are giving you. You need to indicate what features are included when we are talking of that word. For example, plagiarism. When I ask you to define it, you need to explain what is included and what is excluded when it comes to that concept. And then some questions will ask you to compare. Here you are expected to indicate the similarities and differences of phenomena or of words or of these concepts that are given regarding the particular criteria. You need to draw a conclusion by emphasizing the similarities of these given concepts. Very often, we will expect you to use a table format. For instance, if I ask you to compare between qualitative and quantitative research, you need to draw a table, and then you use that table to compare these phenomena. Thirdly, you might find words asking you to contrast. Here you are expected to show how things are done or opposite regarding particular criteria. Look only for differences. If you have to contrast, you only look at the differences but not similarities, whereby when you have to compare, you give both similarities and differences. We continue with contrast, only differences and not similarities, as in the case of comparing. We proceed. I'm just giving you the examples of some words, not all of them. Sometimes you can be asked to describe words or to describe some phenomena, some concepts in educational, introduction to educational research. Here, when we ask you to describe, you should provide a detailed features of an issue or stage of a process in a logical sequence, not in an upside down sequence, not in an upside down order. It has to be a logical sequence, logical order, using headings and proper sentences. Discuss, sometimes we ask you to discuss also some concepts. Here you are expected to give a clear description and then you argue about features by pointing out their positive and negative features, arriving at the conclusion. The other, some questions can ask you to explain, give an explanation of a concept. Then here, what do we expect? We expect you to describe something and indicate the relationships between these aspects that we ask you to explain. How? By making clear the why, which are the reasons, giving the reasons, and the how. Now you are expected to give practical examples of those features that we are asking you to explain. Now, looking at the question paper or the assignment itself, in the assignment, if you are having it in front of you, as you can see, I have asked you to define some of the words. Words or concepts means the same thing. Some of the words, even though not all of them, I have asked you to give definitions of educational research. When we are talking about educational research, what do we mean? What does educational research entails? What does it stand for? You need to give me the definition. Now that you know how to define words, if you forget, you can go to the previous or the other previous two slides. I also ask you to define plagiarism, words like literature review, what does it mean, research methodology, validity in research, reliability in research, surveys, what do we mean when we are talking about surveys? I ask you to define research ethics. All these words are in your study guide. I also ask you to define data analysis and many words that cannot fit in these slides, but they are in your assignment. Each of these words, if you define them, you will get 3 marks for each of these concepts. Now, I just sincerely ask you to read your study guide for details on these words. We proceed. Other questions that you might find in your assignment, I ask you the 3 common purposes of research and give practical examples. Yes, you have to list the 3. What are the purposes? Why do we conduct research? Why do we do research in education? Of course, research can be done in many fields, but here we are concentrating on research in education. Once you mention those 3 common purposes, you are expected to give practical examples. How do we use them in real life? You will also find a question that will ask you about the 4 important reasons for carrying out literature review. Now, when you are doing research, there is section 2 where you have to do literature review. Why do we need literature review in our educational research? You need to consult with all the books, educational research books, your study guide, and read also on the internet. That will give you more marks if you tell me contacting or consulting all those sources. And then you will be able to answer that question about 4 most important or just important reasons for carrying out literature review. There's also a question on back 2004 who explains what critical reading is. Here, students, you have to be knowledgeable. You have to know that there are many types of reading. when you read the newspaper, it's totally different from when you are reading your study guides for your studies. It's also different when you are reading a novel. It's also different when you are reading anything for your information on the website or on internet. So NELEC BAC of 2004 explains what critical reading, one of those types of reading is called critical reading. Now here in that article, she explained what is critical reading. Now my question is, you have to define for me what critical reading is, or in other words, what critical engagement is. You are also expected to explain 4 steps that are required in critical evaluation of an article. What is an article? Whatever you get to read for your study is called an article, not books, not your study guide. When, for example, NELEC BAC of 2004, that is an article. When you get any article, any educational article, there are 4 steps that are required if you want to read it in a critical manner. There are 4 steps required of you. Now I want you, once you define the word critical reading or critical engagement, you have to give me 4 steps required in doing critical evaluation of any article. Okay, another question is on data analysis. One of the very important aspects of doing research is data analysis. Now the question goes like, data analysis is a process under which a researcher begins with a large body of information and must sort and categorize those information and gradually boils or break it down to small set of abstract underlying themes. Before we go to the question, in simple terms, data analysis, we know now, or when you have been reading about educational research, when you are doing your research, you first write a proposal. Later, you come up with research instruments, which are questionnaires and interview schedules and so on. Sometimes you need to do observation. Sometimes you need to record what the people are saying about your research topic. Now later, when you collected all those information, which we call data is information, you need to sit down with all the information that you collected and then analyze. That process now, we call it data analysis. Data is what? Is information, which we got where? From doing our research. Now, data analysis is the process, again I read, under which the researcher begins. You will be sitting with a lot of information that you collected, and then now the question goes like, now that you understand what data analysis is, describe 3 ways of data analysis according to the qualitative research. When you are doing research, you have got 2 designs, qualitative research and quantitative research. And these 2 different research methods or research designs, the way we analyze data is also different, because there are 2 different research designs. Here I ask you to describe, the important word there is describe 3 ways of data analysis according to qualitative research and not according to quantitative research. Probably in your assignment or in the examination, I'm asking 3 ways of data analysis according to quantitative research. What does that mean? You need to know both ways of data analysis for both research design. We proceed. You might ask, there is also a question on comparing and contrasting. Again, if you forget, you go to the other 2 slides where I explain what it means when you are asked to compare and contrast. Here I ask you to compare and contrast the following terms. I give you qualitative research design and quantitative research design. You just need to compare and contrast those. You need to contact your materials, your study guide, and other books that are talking about research, other articles they are on the internet talking about the research, these 2 research design, and then you compare and contrast. There's also a question on whereby I ask you to write down 5 aspects that you need to take into consideration when using the APA references. Again, we are back to APA references. What are you expected? What are the aspects There are many aspects, but I only want you to write down 5 aspects that you need to take into consideration when you are using APA reference format. Again, if I have to go back to the question of comparing and contrasting the two research designs that are qualitative and quantitative, you have to look at the two research designs and elaborate how the following words are used in each of the research design. You look at scientific methods of qualitative research design and quantitative research design. I will be happy if you can present this information in the table format. Okay? You look at the view of human behavior for both research design. Which two research design are we talking about here? The qualitative research design and the quantitative research design. You also have to look at most common research objectives. What are the objectives of qualitative research design, and what are the the common research objectives for quantitative research design? You look at the focus for both designs. Look at the interest. They've got different interests, these two research designs. You talk about their interest of each. You look at the nature of observation. When you are doing observation during quantitative, how is it supposed to be done? When we are doing observation on quantitative research design, how is it supposed to be done? Then you look at the nature of reality for both research design, the form of data that you need to collect. Data is information, the form of information that you need to collect for both designs. How do we do data analysis for both designs? The results that you are getting, how do you present those results? And what type of a final report for each of these research design, etc., etc. If you can get more or write more, the more marks you will be scoring. And another question, which I think is the last one in your assignment, as educators or as teachers, most of us start doing this module or doing these qualifications are either teacher or we were once upon in our lifetime teachers. And most importantly, most of us as students are aspiring to become teachers. So the question comes like this. As educators or as teachers, we are most of the time confronted with various challenges or various problems in our educational institutions, which are schools. What are some of the problems that we are experiencing, or what are some of the challenges that we are experiencing? For example, teenage pregnancies among learners at school, indiscipline among learners at our schools, absenteeism among learners. Not all learners, some learners in our schools, late coming. There are many problems that you will find in school settings. That's why I'm saying etc., etc. It can be these problems, it can be other problems in your schools. Therefore, the community is always expecting teachers or educators to identify these problems, because we are the one who are full-time in schools, we are the one with these learners full-time in schools. So the community, the parents, the Ministry of Education, the Circuit Office, the Director's Office, Regional Director's Office, they are expecting teachers to identify and search for the causes. First, before you start searching for the causes of these problems, you need to identify what problem is there. And we teachers, we are expected to do that. And after you identify, you have to search for the causes. What are the causes? What caused these problems? And then you are also expected to give reason why these problems affect teaching and learning, or how these problems affect teaching and learning, as well as how does it also affect the well-being of the school and the community at large. The question, that is just an introduction to the question. Now, based on your understanding of research, as you are doing this module of introduction to educational research, some of you have also done research modules in other qualifications that you are having. Now that you understand what is research, you are expected, or this question expects you to identify a problem in your school. It can be one of those problems that I mentioned, or you can come up with your own problem. Once you have identified the problem in your school, I want you to illustrate ways in which you will research on the identified problems. If there is absenteeism in the school, how will you do, what ways will you follow to do research now on that challenge or on that problem in your school? Now, what do I want you to do? You have to use all the steps of doing qualitative research. Again, I'm talking about qualitative research, and that's why I have underlined it. How? Don't do research. I want you to write a full proposal. Then the problem comes once people get that question. This question alone carries 35 marks. And I don't know if people panic if they see 35 marks, but first of all, you need to understand what is a proposal. Because I'm asking you to write a proposal, a full proposal on how you are planning to conduct the study on the research that you have identified. I just want us to pause and so that I explain what is a proposal. You are also asked to listen to other previous presentations. A proposal, for example, I want to start with an example of a proposal. When you decide to build your house, you don't just call the builders and you say, I want the house of 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen. Behind my house there should be a garden. No, you need first to conduct planners. You need a plan of the house that is in your mind. First you plan what house you need, you draw a plan, or you get some people, qualified people to draw for you a plan, and from there you now call the builders to build for you. What are we saying here? A proposal is like a plan of a house. When it comes to research, a proposal is a plan for the research that we want to do. What does it mean? That means the proposal has to be written in a future tense. I will do this. I will conduct a research on absenteeism and the reason why. In the research, you can't just say, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. This is what I will do, without giving reasons. Why do you want to do it that way? Okay, so I ask you to write a full proposal and how you plan to conduct the study. To complete this task, to get these 35 marks, you should use the following subheadings. You should have a title of your topic in discipline. That is not a title. You have to tell me what in discipline are you referring to in your title first, in your topic. In discipline where, among which grades? Because you can't just say in discipline at Okamatapati school. No, that is not a topic. The topic should be clear. And be careful, in the research we also have got ethical issues or ethical considerations. You are not allowed to mention the name of the school, the specific name of the school. You can give it a nickname, or you can say at one school in Okamatapati constituency. It's fine, because we need to protect these schools, the names of these schools. So you should have a clear title, not just a title. It has to be clear. You need to have to write about the research problem. What is a problem here? Because we can't research if there's no problem. Research questions. What questions will your research try to answer? Then we go to literature review. And then you have to conduct some books, read and report what are they saying about those people. You only read about literature is the articles and books that have written about your topic. Motivation of the study. What or rationale, why that study? Why do you want to do in discipline, or why do you want to conduct a research on absenteeism and not indiscipline? Probably because there's no indiscipline in your school, there's absenteeism, and that absenteeism have been going on for how long? Why is it a problem? Okay, significance of the research again is why, what make that research important among all, because we can conduct research on many aspects, on many problems, on many challenges. Why that research? Okay, methodology and methods. What methods, if I say go and do this research, what methods are you using? Is it a what research design also? Is it qualitative or quantitative? Are you going to conduct survey? Are you going to do, what tools are you using? Questionnaires, interviews? Are you going to record? Are you going to live? Probably your research will be conducted among the Himba people. Are you going to spend some days with these Himbas so that you understand how they live better? You understand better how they live. What methods are you going to use in order to collect data, in order to collect the information? And then data analysis. There are also other topics in research. When conducting research, for example, ethics, how will you exercise ethical consideration? How will you observe this? You can do all those. There are many, many topics. According to your study guide, you will be able to pick them up. The more you write, the better marks you will score. Students, as we approach the end of our presentations, I just want to touch on some important notes. Again, assignments should be typed. I don't actually negotiate on that, even though it's not a must with IOL. I'm aware of that, but I sincerely, as my respectful students, request that you type your assignment. You use not whether Times New Roman or Arial, I will be fine with it. We have mentioned the 1.5 line spacing, font size 12, and you have to justify all pages. You have to write on one page of one side of your page, and you need to clearly number the questions and sub-questions as well as the pages themselves, page numbers. However, for you to complete this assignment, you need to read widely. Do not confine yourself to the study guide. As I said, you can contact Google or any other Google Scholar, internet. There's just more information that will make you to score marks. Even I'm ready to give 100 marks for this assignment, provided you answer according to my expectation. You need to show all your references throughout. As you are writing your assignment, show me where you got this information. Because now you will study or you will read about how to use APA references. Then at the end of your assignment, there should be a reference list of all the information, where you get all your information, where you get your references, those articles that you have read. Okay, you also have to take note again that you need to use a minimum of 3 references. Use APA style. We are emphasizing on this. Show all your references for more marks. When I can't see where you get the information, I know the English that you write and the English written elsewhere, somewhere else. If you are using other people's knowledge, then and you are not referencing, showing us where you get the information, we call that academic thieves, and we don't need them in IOL. You need to show. We are not saying you don't use other people's ideas. Use them, but show us that it's not your ideas, it's somebody else's idea, and then you support those ideas with your own ideas, with your own understanding. Words such as I, we, my, they, he, she, it, etc. are not accepted in academic writing. You can use them once or twice, but I don't want, I will do this, we will do this. You can probably refer to this research is on what. This study is on what. Okay, you need to be very creative and think critically. You have to think like the level that you are doing, like a diploma student, like a student at high learning institution. You need to be creative in your thinking. Show that you can do better. Okay? And then again, plagiarism is a serious academic offense when you use other people's ideas without referencing, without acknowledging that this idea is from who of which year and the year the article was published. On that note, students, I wish you all the best as you will do your 2018 assignment, and I thank you.